Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast. We're going to talk quite a bit about the Broncos today, of course. Dive in a little bit to the Nuggets, some Avalanche. Don't think we'll talk Rockies because that hurts our hearts. But you guessed it. We have a guest host today. Your eyes are not mistaken. That is not JT. That's the awesome Dak. He's going to help me today on this episode of Mile High Sports Symposium. So go do what you got to do. Be back.
Yo, welcome to the show. Let me set the scene. Mile High Sports Symposium, living the dream. Broncos in the house with that orange and blue. Nuggets making moves, watch that altitude crew. Avalanche bringing ice, check the skills they display. Rocky swinging bats, ready for game day. Rapids in the mix, kicking it with style. Buffs bring the heat, put the rivals on trial. Out talking JJT, they got the scoop. Mile High vibes, feel that energy rise. Sports on the menu, watch the crowd mesmerize. From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire.
Yeah, let's go.
There it is. Let's go.
Let's go.
So for folks popping in again, this is my guy Dak, who is a wonderful, wonderful talent here with the Orange and Blue Network. Stepping in for JT. My man JT has parent-teacher conferences. You gotta be where you gotta be, and you gotta do what you gotta do. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. This essentially is Big D energy. We got the Dak and the Doc here. So nothing less before we get talking sports, which is why we're here doing what we want to do. First, how are you, man? Catch me up. How are things?
Man, I am good. Man, it's been a long weekend. There was no Oregon Ducks football. I was a little sad because I usually go to the games, tailgating when they are home, so I missed out on that. Oh, but for the most part, I'm good, man. This is surreal to actually join you. I was thrilled and actually honored to join you today, bro. I know we tried to do something earlier in the football season. It didn't come into fruition. You know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. But I'm here today, bro, and let's go.
Love it. Let's go. Well, glad you're here. You know what? I'm going to ask you. We were going to talk some other stuff before we do college football. You know what? We're going to jump right into college football. So I'm going to ask you. As a huge Oregon Duck fan, which you are vetted and true, you are not a bandwagon jumper. I'm going to vet for that. College football rankings came out. Okay, the first and foremost. I don't want to be that guy.
Oh, you do.
Some of the word on the streets are talking that there's a couple well-prominent, Bruce Feldman, et cetera, who, if things were to be where they are now, that Oregon would not be one of the at-large bids, which is kind of crazy to think. I don't know. I've watched Oregon play a few times this year. To think that they are not one of the 12 best teams in the nation. I don't know if that's East Coast bias, SC, whatever
Right.
It's probably all of those things. But defend your guys, give me an elevator pitch. You got 30 seconds. Why is Oregon, why are they a team that has to be in?
Well, you look at the talent, and they continue to produce NFL talent at a high level. Quarterback university, one name that you can look at is Dante Moore, who is a talented quarterback. Mm-hmm. He won a big game against Penn State, which now looks like it's not really that much of a win.
You know what it was? That was when they were healthy. They were riding high. That defense was legit. I mean, I watched that game. He was surgical, bro. So, yeah, he was surgical. Yeah.
So I feel like just with that Indiana loss, man, and Indiana is up there, man, but they didn't get beat down by them. It was 10 points, like it was like 30 to 20 or something like that.
Yep.
But like you can only play who you have in front of you, bro. And we are in the Big Ten where we have the talent, man, to be to compete in the college football playoff. And Sadiq,
Yep.
your Kenyan Sadiq's a freak, the athletic freak,
Yeah.
mind you.
I mean, let's Broncos fans get used to that name. That's gonna be a guy that's gonna be on our Broncos watch list. We talked about him a little bit here.
And then you look at the defense, bro. They are loaded on defense. They have Mateo on that end, who I think has 5 sacks already, if not maybe more. He causes havoc. Thieneman, dude, they're loaded, bro. So it would be a shocker.
It'd be a shame. You know what? I would agree with you. You know what? It would be a shame. As much as I'm a Florida State fan. I would love. Actually, I don't. That's fake. I don't care if an ACC team makes it. I'm not the SEC where it's like I root for all of them. No, you don't. Then you're not a real fan if you're rooting for your rivals. Like, stop with that. So I don't care if Virginia gets in and kick rocks. Louisville, kick rocks. Miami, kick rocks. I'm not rooting for any of you. Pittsburgh, I'm not rooting for any of you to get in. Some of it's just the eye test, and I like that you brought up the NFL talent. I want to watch teams that are going to have guys that are going to be on my team, that are going to play on Sundays. And when you're talking about talent and recruitment, Oregon does it as well as they do. Dan Lanning is a different kind of cat, but you know what? I like it because I think he's authentic. I think he's a dude. I think he says what he means and he means what he says. And I think at least in this era of college sports, to get a guy that's authentic and is probably going to be here for a while.
Oh yeah.
I'm here for it. I think they're one of the 12 best. I think, they haven't got a chance to play Ohio State this year. So that kind of takes away from that a little bit. You got the 2 best teams in the country right now, in my opinion, Ohio State and Indiana, at least record-wise, resume-wise, that happen to just be in your conference, right? But the SEC is going to get 3 in. You're not going to Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss. They're frothing at the bit. Texas, Oklahoma. They're gonna push for as many of those teams. And I think Oregon's better than. I mean, I would feel good about them playing any of them on a neutral field and absolutely holding their own. I think Dante Moore is a guy. I think he's going to be a guy that plays on Sundays. Talked about their tight end. I think is a phenomenal prospect. I think they have a couple linemen, especially interior, that are going to play on Sundays. Probably the Broncos. So I'm all in. This week, who do you guys got this week? Who's on the board?
Who do we have? Iowa. We have Iowa. We got Iowa with L. We're gonna get it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be an ugly game. I can guarantee that because that's just what Iowa does. But you know what? All it takes is for one team to stumble. Ohio State hasn't beaten. I wish JT were here so I could make fun of him. It hasn't beat Michigan, the team up north, in a while. Yeah. And the way that Michigan's playing right now, it's Michigan football. It's 3 yards, cloud of dust, good defense. Purdue has been a team that's upset folks quite a bit. For as awesome of a job as anyone's done in college football, what they're doing in Indiana, to be honest, it's still Indiana. And really, till they make some noise in the college football playoff, I don't know that I'm going to be like overly sold on them. I'm coming around on Mendoza. I think he's going to be a player.
Oh yeah.
But that said, we'll see.
And I wanted to
there's a couple more weeks to sell.
Real quick, like we're talking like Dan Lanning and his legacy. Like I think he's potentially building a legacy. Do you feel like it could potentially be something that Nick Saban did in Alabama, being that he's off the Nick Saban tree,
Yeah, I think so. The biggest thing though, right? So Nick Saban wasn't Nick Saban until Nick Saban got that championship in LSU, right? So he was a good coach. And even then when he got that LSU, right? So he did great stuff at Michigan State, goes to LSU, gets that program back on the map, jumps to the pros. Really, he wasn't unsuccessful in the pros. He just didn't want to do it. So there's kind of they were a pretty good team at Miami. If he would have hung through, I think that they would have been pretty good. I think he recognized that that's not his bag. Rightfully came back to college football, but Alabama wasn't that great his first couple of years back at Alabama. And so then, the question was like, could he be the guy that gets you over the top? Like, was it a fluke? And once you get the second one, I think that really raises the bar. I think at minimum this year, Dan Lanning has to get maybe to like the Final Four. He's got to win a couple of games in there.
Yeah.
But I think so. I think what Oregon is able to do from a recruiting aspect, especially being on the West Coast, that USC has done in the past, but has struggled with. UCLA can't do. Oregon State can't do. To be honest, Washington can't do. They can recruit high-end athletes on the West Coast, where you're getting kind of the prime time too. Of there's not other teams competing for your time slots, especially when you're playing a West Coast time. That said, it's also Nike, right? The
Right.
ability to recruit the young kid and getting all of that. So I think Dan Lanning can. I think he has to win in the postseason. And I think once he knocks down, I think it's inevitable that they're going to get a championship here at some point in the relative future. Yeah, I think so. I think if he stays the course, they're too talented. They recruit too well. They have enough resources. Then the question is, can he get two? Right. And especially because his assistants will get poached. That's what good programs do. And so with that, I think that would be the thing that would cause pause, right? Is like a lot of good coaches have won one. Can you win a couple? Can you be a constant threat in the championship season, right? So like Kirby Smart was a little bit like that, where it was like, yeah, but can't beat Alabama, can't win now he's done it, and how quickly they become Vader, right? They become Darth Vader. Dabo Sweeney was like that, was like, oh, it's cute. Like, but is he wins a couple of championships? He goes from being kind of the guy you root for to the guy you can't stand. Can't stand Dabo Sweeney.
Me either.
It's awful.
Honestly,
he's not Brian Kelly awful, but you earn that a little bit when you win a couple of championships. Your nose gets up. But I think what Dan Lanning is building out there, especially if he hangs in and they're able to really continue to kind of get, having a streak where you have Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, and then Dante Moore, like that's some really good quarterback play. And I think if you can continue that trend where you keep getting guys who are legit dudes, for as much as Dylan Gabriel is with the Browns, he still got drafted in the third round and is starting for an NFL franchise. There's only 32 of those jobs. A lot of talented quarterbacks never had an opportunity to start multiple games in the NFL. So the fact that you have back-to-back guys who are doing that thing, and then a guy that will be a top 10 pick when he decides to come out, I have no doubt.
Absolutely,
yeah, I think so. And to be able to compete year in and year out against Michigan, Ohio State, now Indiana, I guess, in the Big Ten, Penn State, all that stuff, I think is just a pretty tremendous thing. So I like it. I'm not an Oregon fan, but I like what Dan Lanning does. I like his energy. I like his tenacity. And especially when you look at it, like Oregon's kind of a pretty school, right? Like all the uniforms and like the look, they're like all the stuff. The fact that you can marry that with, and we'll smash you in the mouth. Like that's pretty dope. For whatever you want to think about them, their program, if you're not an Oregon fan, the fact that they look fly and they will run you over, it's not a soft program. Oregon's not, that is not a, that's not a run and gun, right? You go. Yeah. And they actually get there, unlike Dion, who loved Dion, but still waiting for them to get there.
I didn't know if you meant Christmas, but anyways, that's
exactly. Yeah. My guy, Chris, 100%. You get that Phil Knight money, you better use it. And they do. And you know what? It still works. And so with that, gotta get the gift. All right. So we're gonna do just a little bit of hard transition into some Avalanche talk. So we can kind of go through this just a little bit in the sense of, it's kind of ho-hum has been the case. So Mackenzie Blackwood came back, which is great. With that though, Scott Wedgwood was top 10 goalie in the NHL for the first month of the season. It has been. Does that mess with all of that stuff is always the concern. Do we have a goalie controversy? All the things. And no, not really. You need, it's like corners, like we need them all. But we did suffer another overtime loss against the San Jose Sharks, which, that's a team that this team should have beat. And so I do feel that there's maybe a little bit of a lull going on over at Ball. the changing up a little bit of their defensive structure. The stars are continuing to produce. Offline guys are, but really, like not putting the nail in coffin in some of these teams. So kind of letting guys hang around or letting teams hang around. Much better team than the Sharks, but we're able to come against pretty solid Tampa Bay team and get a dub. Love that Marty Netchus was able to get his extension. So again, kind of doing and getting him for a number that Miko wasn't willing to take. You get that. You're able to keep Jack Drury, who's another depth lineman, and so creating depth while having some financial flexibility. So there's not going to be the goal scorer in volumes that Rantanen is, but a younger, cheaper option that's, in my opinion, has already had a really good start to the season. He's going to be a guy that I wouldn't be shocked if it's 35 plus and 100-point guy. And when you're playing next to McKinnon, I think that's kind of the expectation. And now, having guys rooted, you have your second line center in Brock Nelson. You got your Robin to your Batman on that first line. And so now it's really, my opinion, kind of like this team has to separate from folks because they haven't hit the ceiling. Or, that it's not there. They haven't played as well as I think that they can play, especially offensively. I think defensively, they're playing some really good hockey. Goaltending has been phenomenal. Offense has showed up at times, but not. It's a little bit of what we'll talk about with the Broncos. You see it in spurts, so you know what they're capable of, and with the talent that they have, the Avalanche are as talented as any team really in the NHL. But just the consistent delivery, for a team, mind you, this is like first world problems, right? So a team that is 8-1-5, so they don't have one loss in regulation. It's pretty damn good, not gonna lie. But knowing that they can play so much better, so super excited about what they're doing. That said, I think you got to get a little bit of a kick in the butt when you've lost you've lost 3 of your last 6. 4 of your last 6, 5 of your last 6, 8. Mammoth beat you in overtime.
Yeah.
Hurricanes beat you in overtime. Bruins beat you in overtime. Devils beat you in overtime. Or no, sorry, the Bruins beat you in regulation. Devils beat you in overtime.
Those balls are hurting, man.
Yeah, Sharks overtime. So it's like you got points on those, but you know what? In the NHL, you're not going to complain about stacking points. That said,
what do they got? 21 points. I seen they're up.
Yeah.
There.
Yep. And so they're up there again, and it feels goodish. But to know that they have a different gear. So sitting on top of the Western Conference, I do think they sit on top of. They are the points wise. They are the leader in the clubhouse for the President's Trophy, and to think that they can still play better, in my opinion,
it's so crazy, man.
Isn't it? I mean, it's first world problems. It's.
And I noticed something too, Doc. Like I know you and JT mentioned on your show on a previous episode that the physicality of this Avalanche team is just different than them. I think last season or the other seasons prior that they were a little more finesse team.
Yeah, I mean, really, they were a team that beat you with skating, right? And me and JT have talked about it, and I kind of, it's funny. So I played quarterback in high school. I played corner also, right? And so it's like you think I'd really kind of like the offensive focus and nope. I like trenches. I like physicality. If I were a GM, I'd be drafting in the trenches every single year. That'd be where all my money goes. That's where my high draft picks go, all that stuff. So I think that's how you win. I think that this team is more poised. I'm shocked, actually, to be honest with you, Deck, that they're playing as well as they are offensively, or even just for now, because I think that this is a team that's now built better to win in the playoffs than they are in the regular season because of the physicality, right? You have a line of Nichushkin, Brock Nelson, and Gabriel Landeskog. Like, those are all 3 guys that will put the puck in the net, but they're also guys that will run you over to do it. Right after the first line, right, where you got Lehkonen, you got McKinnon, and you got Netchus, who are all, I think they're all guys that will hold their own physically, but they're going to beat you with speed and skating. right? And that's back-to-back lines. And how cool it is to have your goon line be guys that all of them have scored 30 goals or whatever. Like that's pretty sick. And so I think it is I think it's a good problem to have. But I really want to see them turn it on. I think having a stretch where they dominate teams, I think is they're capable of. I think if they're able to kind of get some good stretches of that, in my opinion, I think you start beating teams psychologically as you get ready for the playoffs. Who, man, we don't. They're going to start trying to manage their seeding to not play you. And I think that's a team that this place can, or this team, a place that this team can be, which in my opinion, to be honest with you, is pretty freaking dope. Like when was the last time we had a juggernaut where, the Peyton days where people are like, man, if I could just not draw them, that would be awesome. So loving where the Avs are at. Dak or Johnny, I love your question. You know what?
What a time to be a Denver fan.
Yeah, I'm gonna save it. I know that we've added it a little bit in some of our conversation, but we're gonna add it. We're gonna come back to that. Johnny, I love that question. We're gonna answer it after we talk about the teams a little bit. I'm a little sad though that you didn't add the Rockies because I feel like
they need a chance. Any chance.
Any chance. So you're saying there's a chance. So let's transition a little bit to the Nuggets.
So
one, just
right here
over the last week. Good solid win against a Kings team that I think is more talented than the record at 2-5 after playing the Nuggets.
Westbrook
last night. Yeah, Westbrook coming back. They didn't want me.
Interesting comments there too. In the
interesting
post-game.
For a guy that opted out, right? But I know it's all procedural, all things anyway. But losing against a Trailblazer team that is better than their record or not as good as their record, in my opinion, especially with what's going on with Chauncey, all the weird things. That was a game that they choked away. 10-point lead going in the fourth quarter, couldn't close out. Maybe just give me your take on what you've seen from the Nuggets, and then I have some questions that I want to throw your way.
I think so far we're looking at a team that's still trying to figure it out, get these new players acclimated, figure out who does what better. We're trying to still play with our lineups to see who plays the best with each other. But even just within that, we are in the middle of the pack. I think in points per game off our bench. I think we're at 37 points per game, if I'm not mistaken, which is, I'll take that. I think it was hard to get any type of scoring if you look back the last few seasons. So I like the versatility that we do have within this team, though. And you're able to go deep, and that you reserve a lot of the starters' energy, for a long season. That way, time come playoff time, we're not suffering those injuries that we were suffering, in the last couple of seasons since winning the championship.
Yeah, I mean, go back to your heyday, Dak, when you were all league, all city, all state, when you were at your prime. I know it's true. I know that you were a baller in yesteryear. I have no doubt. I'm not even going to ask you to prove it. But just think about how deflating it is, right?
Yeah.
You got your team, you're up 12, you're torching, you go over to the sideline, you finally get your breather. All of a sudden, it's 4 quick points. I haven't even got my water yet. I haven't sat down yet. Like what the toll does or what's it provides you when right? Are you able to rest when you're stressed, right? So I know that you can't. I know that that's not a thing because I do in my real job, right? I coach on and teach on trauma and all of that stuff. So when you're elevated, escalated, you're not resting. When you're not resting, right? You're tense. So it's essentially you're still playing when you're on the sideline because you're stressed out about the lead that you got that you were giving up now, right? And what does that do? We saw with the Broncos, offense, defense, right? When one side of the ball isn't holding their own, resentment is a mofo, right?
Oh, yeah.
And if any of you have a wife or a partner, that sometimes when you build resentment, all of a sudden that fight happens. I didn't know that was there. My worry had been do you even like or respect the guys that are on your NBA roster when you're wanting just the bare minimum, right? Like Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray just wanted the bare minimum from their bench to please just hold serve. I don't need you to win. I don't even need you to to have more points, just a little bit. And, so over the last few years, last year they ranked 27th in bench scoring.
Yeah.
At 26.4 points a game. Think about that. So 7 or 8 guys averaged 26 points. That's just nuts. That's nuts. An NBA game takes 8 guys to. So this year, not killing it, but at 37.2 points, so up to 15th in the league. Which again, that's not plus minus, which they're actually one of the better units in plus minus. But all we've really asked for is just we need an average bench, just an average bench. Not great bench, not phenomenal bench, because with Nikola Jokic on the floor, you have the best starting unit, regardless of the piece that's been in, right? And their starting 5 since before the championship run has been the best in the league for at least the last 5-6 years. So really, again, we're not asking you to then be the best bench. We're just asking you to hold serve because the starters will be able to get us there. I think them being in the middle of the pack isn't the ceiling still. So I am going to get a little greedy. So it was I don't really care if our guys, nope. I want this team, I want this bench to get better. And I think the Sacramento game was a really good example of, I think they're getting a little bit more comfortable. Bruce Brown talked about it, about that was really the first game that he got to run the second unit on ball, and how things are settling a little bit and how well they're playing now. He acknowledged we're still not comfortable together. Right. So that's the first time I've been on the ball. Tim Hardaway is still kind of learning the offense and the guys. Big Val still only getting 12 to 15 minutes because of, just matching up and understanding where he's at, all of those things. To think that they're now pretty good. We know that they can be better. My question for you is, with the growth of the bench, is it unrealistic for us to expect a Western Conference championship? Not Absolutely. Hope, not believe, but assuming that this bench is even middle of the pack, if this team doesn't make the Western Conference Finals, is this a lost season? Is it a failure?
Yes, absolutely. Because to hit on that point, you go and you ship out Michael Porter Jr., who's balling out in Brooklyn, make no mistake, but you remove that contract to add all these other pieces, right? Because you needed the versatility, you needed to rest all these guys, because you're pushing in your chips, because you feel like a couple of these moves are going to push you to that level to compete. And a lot of the way all of us Nuggets fans are talking, this is contending season, this is a championship season. I feel like it is championship season or bust, honestly. Not so much just even reaching a Western Conference finals, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, I was one where it was Final Four. I kind of think this with the Avs and the Nuggets. I expect them to be one of the Final Four teams in the Western Conference Finals for both sport. I think it's easy. I think to expect, because I think both teams have arguably, right, the best players in the world in their sport. So Cale Makar, you can make an argument for Cale Makar or Nate McKinnon. I think if you've watched basketball, I think there is no debate right now who the best basketball player in the world. If you don't think it's Nikola Jokic, I don't know what you're doing. Let's just keep it. I'm not going to waste time with that. Right. So with that, the additions, so they did, and they're not even clicking yet. Right. Cam Johnson is a better player than what he's shown so far. Part of it is, I think the new guys recognize it's their job to fit in. And I like that the stars aren't trying to lessen or dim their light to fit them in, right? So you see, this is the best, I brought up, I think last time, a couple weeks ago, the first 3 games of the season were the best 3-game stretch that Jamal Murray has ever had, ever. And we all know he's been a slow starter where he's working back in shape, blah, 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 whatever the narrative has been. That isn't the case this year, which, I can have Cam Johnson average 8.5 points a game while he gets it figured out, because Jamal has come in with, I think, a new vigor. You got Christian Brown, who I think he's a guy that I have no doubt is playing or is going to put pressure on himself to show he's worthy of a contract, versus some players who I made it, it's guaranteed, I'm good. think he's a guy that wants to show that the organization did the right thing with giving him them. Aaron Gordon looks healthy, right?
Oh my God.
You're away from a tragedy of losing his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Injuries, like you got to be able to add a lot of that of what they were dealing with. And Nikola Jokic, I think the mental load of understanding you have help now. I think it's just dope. I appreciated Jolene's comment. Big Val is the best backup center the Nuggets have had since Nikola Jokic was the backup center.
Yep, absolutely.
Which thank God we made that call. What's Nurkic doing? Not good. So with that, before we go into our next thing, I'm going to cue us up. So think about it. So Johnny's question was, which of the three teams has the best shot of holding a trophy? With kind of where they're at now, I want you to sit with that really quick.
Okay.
Before we transition to the Broncos, just want to share a little bit about what we got going on the network. So, one, we have better shows than this show, which is crazy for me to think about how high the bar is set. So we got something for you all the time, whether it's Bronco Bros on Monday, whether you go to Broncos Talk on Wednesday, Viva Los Broncos on Friday, breaking news, pregame, postgame, Bronco Bros, my man Dak just all over the tube all week. Literally, if you want to talk Broncos and sports, throw a rock, you'll hit one of us on the network. Really appreciate you all popping in today. But if you're not subscribing and liking us yet, please do. So again, we're only a couple of subscriptions away on the Orange and Blue Network on YouTube from giving away a orange Bo Nix jersey. I mean, it's free. Why not? So go like, subscribe, algorithm, all of that stuff. And finally, do your due diligence, but you're not going to find a better, cleaner, caffeinated drink than Dubby. You don't have the jitters. So if you like feeling like a human, go do that. Here's the promo code. So again, Orange and Blue Network 10 or, Bo Nix 10. However you want to remember it. Encourage you to do those things. Here's all the good stuff to validate what I just told you about why it's a good thing for you to drink. Again, I got me some, liked it. It's not too bad. And I'm the guy that likes jittery because I like my pre-workout to be a little bit like crack. But most people are healthy and you should do some W. So I'm almost in line to get my next order. Go over there, get that before you can't. So, I appreciate you, Jay. Jay, you're dope.
Such a good dude.
All right. So with that. Oh, wait. What? Never mind. If you,
I didn't want to interrupt.
Do me a favor. Go unsubscribe really quick and then go back in and subscribe so that it happened on our show and not last night. But can't wait. So we're going to be giving away jersey tomorrow morning. Keep on the lookout.
Yeah. Sorry, bro. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I didn't want to be rude on you. So.
I'm glad. No, be rude.
Okay.
I like it. All right. So Jolene believes, I think that this is the best Nuggets team that we've had, period, at least on paper. Even better than our 2023. Your Denver Broncos are 7-2 for the first time in a long time. So all of them right now are sitting at the top of their respective conferences. Got all the way at the top, but definitely seen as as some betting favorites in terms of having a chance to hoist a trophy. Dak, someone said, hey, you have to mortgage the house on a bet for which Colorado sports team this season. Never mind. We're going to shrink it. Just Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche. Which one of those three, if you had to put your livelihood on it, who do you think you would put it on and why?
Man, I look at all three teams' roster construction. I look at who's built now to win. And I look at the Denver Nuggets as a team to win because they have the best player in the world, because they have the best depth, in my opinion, in the NBA. They're still trying to figure that out. They would be my pick. I'd mortgage my house. I'd lose the damn thing. I wouldn't care because that's how confident I am. I don't think I'm losing it, because, and you also look at the Denver Broncos, and they are contenders, but I feel like that roster is still flawed, right? That wouldn't give me the confidence to push my chips on that, So, and the Avalanche, I mean, we'll find out, just based off what you said, they got some good things going, but I feel more confident with Jokic. They've already done it. They already proven that they can do it. So,
yep. I love it. Well, hey, chat, you're not supposed to come in here and rain on the parade, bro. But I appreciate this, Chris, making sure that we know I'm not giving you advice. I'm not a financial entity, nor therefore should you take it. These are all just fun and jokes. Please don't go mortgage your house. Gamble responsibly. So with that, would you put Broncos third? Would you say Broncos, if I were to tier it on the 3, would you have it be Nuggets? Who would be your 2, 3? How'd you rank
this is a good one. Oh man. I'm gonna put the Broncos 2. I'm gonna put the Broncos 2.
I'm
gonna put the Broncos.
Got faith. He believes.
I believe.
Get it twisted. My man believes. All right. I actually I'm gonna go Avalanche 1.
Oh.
I think the Avalanche, because of their goaltending.
Okay.
And really, for all of us to remember, right? So for as pedigreed as the Nuggets team is, I think there are more players on the Avalanche team that have won the Stanley Cup recently than the Nuggets team. I think if like percentage, obviously bigger team, numbers, blah, blah,
right.
Blah, all that stuff. Same coach, which Nuggets don't have. Proven coach, right? So Benner versus Adelman, even though I'm really excited about what Adelman's doing. The Avalanche from top to bottom, when you look at front office, all of that stuff has just been a much more stable outfit. I think more aligned to up to the date. So with that, I think the Nuggets are 2 because Nikola Jokic, when you have the best player in the world at a game where there's only 5 guys on the court at a time, or 10 if you add, both teams, he has more of an impact in that sport than having the best player in football on the field. Right. So, because it's the ultimate team game. I would say that too for hockey, is you have the best player in the world. I mean, look at Edmonton, right? I mean, you have McDavid, who's Hall of Famer, right? He's once generational, all that stuff.
I like him.
No championships to spare. All those good things. So I would go with the Avalanche 1. I think that they are just the most complete team, which, what I really like saying is that all 3 of these teams have a ton of depth. Like you don't have a ton of areas that you're like, oh, hopefully that is
it's like an eyesore.
Yeah, the Avalanche are playing phenomenal defense. They have the best record in the NHL, and they're not playing their best, which I just think is a really good example of it. Obviously, it's super early. You could say similar about the Nuggets, right? They lost 2 games. That they would say that they should have won. Some of you have heard this before. And same with the Broncos, right? Argument could be made 9-0. The 2 games that they lost, they didn't trail in the fourth quarter, which is just weird to say.
That's so crazy.
Every game they lost, they were not trailing in the fourth quarter. And so with that, I got Avs 1, Nuggets 2, Broncos 3. But I would feel comfortable putting a bet on both the Avs and Nuggets.
Okay.
Partly because I've seen them do it before, and they've done it. Their best players have done it before, and they're still here, right? McKinnon, Makar, you got Jamal and Jokic and Aaron Gordon, right? Like you said, I've seen them do it. I've seen the pedigree. The Broncos, it's a little bit, for as much as I could see it happening, I can't see it happening because I haven't done it.
Fair.
I don't know how many guys on the roster, if any of them, have a Super Bowl ring, somewhere else, because most of this team was here last year and the year before, right? It's a very kind of group, but I don't know, how many of them have won a playoff game. You got Hufanga and Greenlaw who have came. I don't think Evan Ingram has ever won a playoff game. No, maybe with Jacksonville when they beat the Chargers.
He was with that roster. But
So maybe you got you brought in one J.K. Dobbins because he played for Baltimore, even though it's like was he active in the years that they won? Who knows? Right. Ben Powers maybe, and McGlinchey, right? It's like a couple of those guys, but outside of that, Zach Allen never really had postseason success.
No.
Obviously Benito and Cooper, Pat, like all of those are Brandon Jones, I don't think Miami ever won when he was there. So just there's not a lot of guys even that know what winning looks like. So the fact that they're winning really ugly right now is super dope because that to me is a little bit more of a tell about success. So with that, let's go and transition to the Broncos. Talk a little bit about the game that happened Sunday because we got a quick turnaround as our boys play tomorrow against the Raiders. Is there any rivalry that you can think of that's died more than the Broncos Raiders rivalry?
Man,
do you hate Raiders fans like we used to, or is it kind of like you feel bad for them a little bit?
I don't really hate them.
You want to pat them on the back and give them a sucker,
well, let me tell you. Let me tell you, I'm married to one, bro. So.
Oh goodness gracious!
I guess I don't hate them that much because I know
my brother is one, and I don't know how. We're not from California. How did that happen? You just like to rebel, but wow, you chose them even,
Yeah, I feel like that was that rivalry's kind of died into a sense.
Yeah, I mean, quiet. If it's not, if everything's good at home, right, it doesn't cause some conflict. I think that goes to show they're like, it's not that. Oh, Jets, New England.
I
mean, really, like the Jets or the AFC East against it, Miami, like the Jets in Miami. Remember that used to be a thing, like Testaverde.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chad Pennington, anyway. Remember? Chad Pennington?
I mean, right. Like there's Miami used to be a team. I don't know. Anyway, so just kind of going back a little bit. So Broncos again, come back, fourth quarter comeback. I think that's 5. Is that 5 this season? I think they are 5-1 in one-score games, which last year was 1-7.
They were
It wasn't good.
1-6 or something like that.
Yeah, it was not good last year. Last year was one of those of like if it was close, they couldn't figure it out. But the offense maybe gave you a little bit more hope as the season went on. This year, offense has been mid, as the kids would say, but they're winning in close games, right? It's the equivalent, in my opinion, right, of the Kansas City Chiefs last year. They just figured out how to win games. You look up, their first place in the AFC, 15-2. They marched to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they got blown out. But the fact that they were winning ugly and they just didn't stop until the end, I think at least gives a blueprint on – good call out, Jolene. Yep. DJ Jones. Again, I think anyone that came from San Francisco, I guess, has some. But, I'm going to give you either or, okay? What do you think is more a positive frame? So if we're going to glass half full this thing. Is it more impressive that, what is the bigger takeaway? That Bo Nix turning on in the fourth quarter? Or the concern, like what's bigger weighted that the offense really has to get into oh crap mode before they score? Like, which one do you weigh as more important? The fact that Bo Nix has a clutch gene, turns it on in the fourth quarter, his fourth quarter QBR, his fourth quarter passer rating, his touchdown interception ratio, all that is tops in the league-ish in the fourth quarter, bottom of the league in the first couple quarters. Which one do you think is a thing that you would take away from it more? Bo Nix up or the concern for the rest of the time?
That's a good question, man. I think Bo Nix, because you kind of have to look at it like what if factor. I mean, I know it is the what if factor. It's a game that you kind of don't want to play with all the time. But like if he happens to put that together for 4 quarters the way he plays, what kind of caliber team are we looking at now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is in the NFL would be like, oh, we want to face Denver, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I mean, it's just the first half that has gone by. Does this this is Broncos offense figure it out? And if they do or when they do, we're gonna be a problem, dude. Like it's.
Let me ask you though. Say they never figure it out.
Okay.
And this is how they win. Do you feel like? Because to me, quarterbacks get paid for third down conversions, red zone, in the fourth quarter. Like either putting a team away, getting your team to come back, and then converting on third down to keeping drives alive, all that stuff, and then scoring points in the red zone, right? In the end, or the goal of the game is score more points than the other team. Can't do that if you give the ball away or you don't convert in the red zone, which several of those Bo Nix is great at.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The offense has shown the ability to be able to be that. So do you think if this formula for the Broncos is the same for the rest of the season, Sean Payton kind of remembers the run game sometimes, but when they lean in, pretty dynamic. Defense is pretty stout, and the Broncos kind of figure things out in the fourth quarter most of the time. Do you feel like, you know what, they can still make a deep run if this is who they are? Or do you think they're playing with fire too much? Eventually it's going to catch up to them, and they're going to be a team that kind of falls to the wayside?
I feel like they can make a run if they put it together. And I mean, just even with this, what we've seen, because we have seen in 2015, and we just saw last season, that their teams are capable of making runs with just, getting over the hump and putting it together in that fourth quarter, right? Like, so Chiefs went 15-1 last year.
Yep. I mean, before they JV'd up and came in Denver with their second unit. Yep. I mean, they're 15-1.
So
they figured it out every single year or every single game. Yeah, that's a little bit about like how I look at it. In the end, I also think it's so interesting, just sports fans, right? The Broncos didn't have. Yeah, the Broncos didn't have. We hadn't had a winner, right, in a decade. All of a sudden, we get a team that, and I said this before, like last year was one of the most enjoyable football seasons that I can remember because it was kind of playing with house money. Yeah. Not only was your team kind of going up, right? Your quarterback that you're seeing progress, they're winning some games, but even when they lost, I knew it was par for the course because it was like we're starting a new quarterback. We got the big Russ Wilson dead cap. Like this is all kind of gravy. And the fact that things were winning, right, or turning around. Now you flip it, right? If I were to tell you last year, Dak, hey, you know what? Next year the Broncos will be 7-2, heading in to play the Raiders with an opportunity to separate themselves from the Chiefs. So play Raiders, Chiefs, about being potentially 9-2 and having a 4-game lead on the Chiefs at that point. Would you have taken that? Would you have been like, Simon, yeah, that sounds great.
Hell yeah.
Right. But all of a sudden, all of a sudden, it's like, they're not winning the right way. Got to have style play.
Not flashy.
Right?
It's not flashy.
Right. And it's not, right? All of a sudden we became winning snobs. So now winning is no longer, even the goal of the game is to win it. Now, achieving the goal isn't even the goal anymore. It's
crazy how as times we move the goalposts sometimes.
It's shot. Like I mean,
you know what I mean?
Blink, right? It's like it's like a team beating a top 25 team and coming in and rushing it, taking the goalpost, dumping it in the all that stuff. So I think one, because I think if you were to look at the what ifs, play the what if game, a couple of things I think will start to happen as this season goes, especially if the Broncos, because there's going to be more pressure filled games, and I think with that. An aggressive defense like this will start to get turnovers, which for as good as this outfit has been, it hasn't been a turn the ball over unit. Right. But they have players, I think, that can do it. You saw that last year. And so I think it is inevitable that some of those bounces will start to go the defensive way. And if so, you got short fields, things like that. I think the ability to score points will get easier than having to march, playing the position game, all that stuff. I do think Sean Payton at some point will get his head out of his butt and run the damn ball more often. I love Bo Nix. We're trying to make Bo Nix, Drew Brees. When you have a top, we've been waiting for so long for them to have a consistent and even sometimes dominant run game. When you're able to go smash Philly in the face, that's no joke. Yeah. And so I just think it's interesting that we as Broncos country are now we're not winning good enough and style points and blah, blah, blah. They're 7-2, tied for the best record in the AFC. They lost the 2 games they lost are to 2 top 5 seeds in the AFC playoff picture at the current moment in time by a combined 4 points.
Damn, and the Colts
maybe we should just let's just chill a little bit. Right. Mind you, with a favorable matchup against the Raiders. So you get the Raiders, you get 10 days then to game plan and prep for the Chiefs. There's an opportunity for Pastor Tan to even get back. Empty the clip, and then you get the bye, right? So you're going to the bye.
And then after that, you have the Commanders.
And that will be without Jane Daniels. So, I mean, it's got to feel really good about it. So with that, let's preview a little bit of the game. tomorrow. Thursday.
Ooh,
I like Thursday games, but it definitely
Raiders.
like creeps up. So kind of want to break down a little bit about what they do. I don't expect that anyone outside of AFC West fans and Raiders fans or people that like to hurt themselves watch Raider football. And so with that, we'll talk a little bit about what what we are looking at from an offensive game planning perspective. So
I like this.
the Raiders are a team, and I think they have more talent than they've had before. They are not a good or a talented team yet. So I would want to make sure they are not as a breadth of talent as they have been in years past. But as you can see, even though this, again, PFF has a ton of its flaws, it's an opportunity to be able to look at things, I think, at least on a consistent scale. I don't think that there is anything on outside of Max Crosby against Mike McGlinchey. Mind you, and Mike's played really well, especially the last 2.5 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
That is the only matchup, in my opinion, where I would take the Raiders on. I think Max Crosby against
he's a beast. He's one of my
McGlinchey. Yeah, and I think that's. But I think if he goes and lines up in front of Garrett, I feel really good about that matchup. And so I feel really good about when you look at player to player matchup against this Raiders team. Is there anything that concerns you from a Broncos on offense perspective that the Raiders can show you defensively, or anything that defensive unit would worry about that we could inform or educate our friends that are listening in our audience to prepare for?
Aside from Max Crosby, I mean, not really. They're towards the bottom of the they're like towards the bottom of the league. I think they were like 26th in defense last I checked. So against the run, against the pass, there's not a lot to really worry about there. I like our matchup there. As long as you don't let Max Crosby get 5 sacks the way Khalil Mack did back in 2015, I think you're feeling confident, right? If you're keeping Max Crosby at bay and not letting him wreck the game. I would feel pretty confident. I like the matchup with Cortland Sutton versus their secondary. I like our wide receivers in totality against their secondary, really. So, man, I think, I think if we can just sustain
I think so. So looking at a little bit yards wise, the Raiders giving up yards are 14th in the league. Yards per play, they are good, not good. Actually, not bad. So they are 10th in yards per play.
Oh, okay.
Which, but I mean, the Broncos are 1. They're 10th, not bad. And so, but with that, turnovers, they are not great. They are 12th. They have 8 total turnovers. However, the Broncos only have 7. And so kind of looking at that a little bit, they are a team that gives up plenty of yards through the air. And, with more than 1,700 so far. So they are middle of the pack, not awful, but not great. Defensively, the rush defense in the bottom half of the NFL. And so it's a team defensively that's going to give you your opportunities. They are better coached. So Pete Carroll is a phenomenal defensive mind. So they play really sound football. They just don't have the dudes.
Right.
I really like Jeremy Chin, good athlete.
I do like
big nickel. That's great. Eric Stokes, former first-round pick, never kind of put it together. Jamal Adams is playing linebacker as he should have for the last decade. White was a tremendous athlete and player for Tampa Bay a while ago. That's kind of yesteryear. And so I really like what the Broncos are going to be able to do. This isn't a bereft defensive unit. It's a little bit more of like where the Giants were at. And I think if you can kind of look at that when you're stacking kind of the talent, I think it hopefully gives us a good perspective against what they're looking for. Now we'll flip it up to when the Broncos are on defense, which it is one of those, again, that there isn't a matchup outside of Brock Bowers because he's him. and especially because you don't have Pat Surtain. So last year, Pat followed Brock Bowers, which Brock, those were 2 games that Brock didn't go off. No, wait, he did have that really big play, but that was on PJ Locke. And so when Pat locked up, Brock was just a guy. It's outside of Brock, who is by far probably the best receiving tight end threat in the NFL right now. I feel really good about the Broncos. I think their offensive line has been not great. I think Ashton Genty has never really got going.
You can't really behind that line.
Outside, especially trading Jacoby Myers. Is there anyone that I even feel worried about? I thought that Barron played pretty good football. I thought Chris Abrams-Drains played good football last weekend. I thought Riley Moss was a dog. I think he played well. I think McMillan's been pretty good all year. Brandon Jones and Hufanga, I think, should be in the conversation for best safety duo in the league. You got Dre Greenlaw back, who was an absolute monster. Good. He's going to get hopefully some more snaps, higher snap count. But Justin Chenad's been a good player. Nick Benito is due. They don't have Colton Miller this week. I see no reason why this team shouldn't have 4 sacks again, a turnover or 2, because we know Gino. He's had 2 games where he's thrown 4 touchdowns in a game, which one of those was Sunday. But he also has been super terrible with the rock at times, especially when he gets flustered. He's not as athletic as some of the other quarterbacks. Definitely not, Bo Nix, etc. He's a guy that can move around with his legs, but he is not a threat. And with an offensive line that has not been great and a pass rush as dominant as this been, is there anything that concerns you from an offensive or their offense that you would have some pause about if you're the Broncos?
Absolutely not. Like other than what we touched on, there's nothing that I'm.
So no matter what I say, there's.
I'm not saying that right for this
being worried, and you're yawning over here. No matter what you say, I'm not going to be. If they be worried.
If they found a way to attack maybe Alex Singleton in pass coverage, who's the worst inside linebacker, and scheme up some plays to where Alex Singleton happens to be matched up on him and take advantage of that matchup. But I don't think that'll happen because I know Vance Joseph will be fine with the way he schemes up, utilizing Jahdae Barron and Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw, to really probably cover Bowers. I think will be the guys I got my eye.
Yeah, I mean, really, you watch out for number 2, watch out for number 89, and if the other guys have a great day and beat you, so be it. Yeah, if I'm Chip Kelly, everything it's interesting. If the Eagles would have tried to isolate and utilize Saquon as a receiving threat, especially against our inside, no one's keeping up with Saquon. I don't care if it's Alex Singleton. I don't care. He wasn't going to win that matchup. It has nothing to do whether or not he's good or not good. And I think if they were to pay attention, Ashton Genty, he should be in the slot, move him around, get him the ball in some space. I don't know if they are that smart to do that. I think they'll force feed that. But Gino's thrown 11 picks this year, tied for the NFL lead so far.
Jameis Winston Jr.
He's the guy that I think again will be that. And the Broncos are in the throwback unis. They are undefeated in the throwback unis, the greatest unis in the history of sports. And they'll be at home. And so I think, I think with what's ahead, I think it's a good kind of get right game for this team. I think that they're going to run the ball a lot better. So let's go to predictions. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple either ors first before we go to a game prediction. Okay. So right receiver. So Cortland Sutton or Troy Franklin. And I ask this because I think some people might think that it is. Right now, Franklin has 2 more targets on the season than Cortland Sutton does. And so that might continue to be the case. Cortland Sutton has 200 more yards on the receptions, about the same, so much bigger play threat. But do something like we've seen over the last several weeks where Troy Franklin is the premium targeted option, or does Cortland kind of regain that wide receiver one? Who gets more targets, Troy Franklin or Cortland Sutton?
I'm gonna go with Cortland Sutton. I like that. I like that because I know he was probably seeing a lot of two-shell coverage, but like Jackson's defense was, I mean, they're dogs, man. Derek Stingley, I mean, he's a dog, but like Cortland Sutton, I like his matchup. I like the way to potentially like do the 50-50 balls, with Bo Nix and them. I think he's gonna have a get right game himself in this Thursday night.
All right, I like it. So you're all right. You are on the Cortland Sutton. I think either Troy Franklin, they're really trying to accelerate his development because they know they got in court. Court's going to show up. He's a pro, but we got to get Franklin up there to kind of be 1B if we're going to have some success late in the season and in the postseason. Or, and I haven't watched it's been pretty hectic. I haven't went back and watched the tape just about how, what Troy's been doing. I don't know if it's a practice. Maybe he's showing out. They're rewarding him with that. It's Bo Nix and their connection from work, like whatever it might be. I think Troy Franklin will again lead them in targets. I think right now there's something going on where that's going to be a focus. We're going to move it here over under for passing yards for Bo Nix. Okay, so it's set. The line set at 215.5. Over or under Bo Nix passing yards?
Over.
All right, over. All right. I like it. I think the Raiders have a terrible defense. They do play the cover 3, so they do play back quite a bit. And so I think right now with the Broncos really struggling on the where that defense kind of excels is taking away the deep ball. So I think the middle to intermediate routes will be open. Hopefully this is the time that the offense takes advantage of. At some point, Evan Ingram game. I think when you spend that much money on a guy, especially with an ego like Sean has, I think you want to show that you know what you're doing. So one of the things that has been brought up quite a bit about the Broncos or Bo Nix' lack of success, especially last week, is he didn't really take opportunities to run until the final drive. I assume that it's getting coached out of him a little bit of like, you got to win in the pocket, whatever that might be. I think for this team to be its best offensively, his legs have to be a threat also. There will be a time and place where his skill set shifts, time, experience, your body, all that stuff. For this team to be really, really good, he has to remain a threat. Running the ball, it helps hold a spy, which helps you in coverage, all of that stuff. But the over-under set at 20.5 for Bo Nix. Rushing yards here on Thursday Night Football. Over-under.
Oh, man, I think this is going to be an under because I feel like I know you made the point of him having to utilize his legs. He might, it's nice to see that, but I feel like this is a game that he's not going to really have to rely on his legs. And, this will be he'll get what he wants type of game against the Raiders.
All right. I think it'll be less. I think he's going to throw the ball. I don't think he's going to run very much. I would love for him to do it. I just, for some reason, I don't, especially if it's not a tough matchup. I think he'll stay in the pocket. All right. Who is going to have more all-purpose yards? Ashton Genty, or some people had said during the draft, Ashton Genty light and RJ Harvey. So who is going to have more all-purpose yards when Thursday concludes? Ashton Genty or RJ Harvey?
Man. This is a good one. I'm going to go with RJ Harvey. I'm going to go with our guy, RJ Harvey.
All right. I like it. I like
RJ our defense. Harvey. I like our defense to suffocate Ashton Genty, honestly.
I'm going to say I agree because RJ Harvey, one, has been utilized in the pass game more. And I think bigger chunks happen when you throw the ball, obviously, than handing it. And he's had big explosive plays in the pass game over the last several weeks, whether it be screen, whether it be wheel routes on the side. Their linebackers being able to match up with him, I feel way better about the Broncos matching up and limiting Ashton Genty, even though Ashton Genty probably have twice the amount of touches. I don't believe in the Raiders offensive line. I think Ashton Genty gets hit way too early for that to be the case. So, all right, with that, okay, what give me or let me give you the over-under for sacks. Okay, so Broncos over-under set at 4.5 sacks on Thursday. Over-under as a team.
I think in order for us to really win this game, we're gonna have to bring the pressure. Zach Allen's been magnificent. John Franklin Myers has been special, and we need our two outside edge guys to get going. You know, you mentioned Bonito not really having a sack and getting going. Give me the over. I think we get 6 sacks in this game.
Ooh, I like it. I also think that it's over. I think Gino will hold the ball a bit. They're going to have to try and come back. But with that, who has more sacks Thursday? Jonathan Cooper or Nick Bonito?
Casa Bonito. He's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder because he knows he was leading the decoy. These last few games, I feel like he's been creating pressure. But I think he needs to have a statement game, and I think this will be the game against the Raiders. What a better game to get a statement.
Yeah, I mean, really, he was 8 sacks in 7 games, and then hasn't had a sack the last couple. So now sitting in 4th in terms of sacks on the season. Jonathan Cooper tied for 6th with 1 sack behind him. Had a couple sacks going on. So right now you're going over the totality versus the hot hand. I think they're going to scheme for Nick Bonito. So I actually think Cooper, again, will end up with more sacks.
It's been nice.
Because, I mean, you can't double team everybody. Nick is by far, in a way, getting the attention. And rightfully so. It's nice to see Zach Allen pop up in the top 20 in the NFL in sacks with 5. So you're kind of seeing some of the Broncos separate. John Franklin Myers has 4. So it's pretty cool to just continue to see, your defensive line. All of them are in the top, in the top 25, top 30 in sacks, which is pretty dope. All right. So with that, game predictions. Dak, drum roll. Who wins? Broncos or Raiders?
Man, I'd be getting thrown pitchforks if I chose the Raiders. I'd be ridiculous. But I'm going to.
So you're saying this isn't a trap game?
No, absolutely not. I think the Broncos win 41-10.
Oh, dang.
I think
throw in the chat. Let us know what you think.
I think the over-under was 50. No, am I tripping? Was it 50-some points? 40-some? Can't remember.
Yeah, I thought it was 48 and a half.
48. I know it was high.
Let me double check. So with it, do you think it's going to be like a big blowout from jump, or do you think they run away with it after I think this is halftime?
I really feel like this team, we're gonna, just from the get-go, man, it'll be like a Cincinnati game, where we just jump out in front and, kind of Dallas kind of thing. We have 2 games to where we've done that.
Do you think early and often they're going to be in the lead? So over under, I see 42 and a half.
42 and a half. Yeah.
And the Broncos are 10.5 point favorites, which is a big number. You take an action on any of those with the over in total points, and would you take the money line? Just the Broncos to win, or would you take them to cover?
I would do the spread for sure. Easy. That's easy money right there. I'd probably parlay the spread and the over under. I'd do the over, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. You know what? I think that the Raiders are going to get some end of the year point or end of the game. Get 17 points because the Broncos let up. I do expect them to cover. I think this is a game. Sean Payton doesn't like getting questioned whether or not he's good. So I think that they're going to put up 30 plus. And in doing so, I think that they're going to cover. So I have the Broncos 31 to 17. Overall, pretty dominant performance throughout. Before we go, because we are a little bit over time, so I appreciate everyone hanging with us. Anything that you want to say before we go out?
I just want to thank everybody who has watched this. This was a good time. Thank you for having me on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Always show love to Doc and JT. They do it right over here as well.
Appreciate that.
This was a good time, man. I hope we could do this again for sure.
Yeah,
And go
love it.
Broncos. You gotta get that done.
Hey, appreciate it. Juan, hey, just Denver sports fans, you got not only solid crew over at the Orange and Blue Network, but you have some teams to be able to enjoy and root for and do so. You know, we're not obnoxious Boston fans or feel like, you know, we're not those people. LA. Enjoy your teams, because not only, in my opinion, do we have some teams that are doing well, we have guys on the teams that we can legitimately root for. You know, Nicole, you have superstars who are humble, at least outward facing, whatever they do. I don't care as long as I don't know about it. And so just some enjoyable time right now. Soak it up. It won't be like this forever. We all know that. But for my guest host, Dak, shout out to JT, who's holding down the dad fort. We really appreciate you all. Please enjoy the Broncos responsibly. But with that, don't forget to go check out some of the rest of the shows for the rest of the week. Again, for Dak, for JT, and me, Doc, at the Mile High Sports Symposium, we appreciate you all. And if you need a script,
From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire. So grab your crew, let's hit the show. My High Sports Symposium, let the good times flow.
Man, that was... We're still live.
From football to hockey, we're taking it high.